on the fundamental questions. Question 1, where do we come from? Question 2, what are we doing here? What is the meaning of life? And question 3, where do we go when we die? What happens? Now with question 1, not many people have an answer for that. Not even our art and even our literature and our religions, not many give you an origin story. You know, where you were before you came here. There's many people professing about what the meaning of life is, many religions professing what the meaning of life is, and many religions talking about what happens to you after you die. But your origin story, not as many for that aspect. Now where you're in luck is where your religions have failed and where society hasn't given you an answer about where you came from. I could at least offer to you what happened to me or what I remember. So I remember dying in a past life. And let me tell you, the moment of dying, realizing that this was the end of it, that it was the most relaxing feeling I ever had. I still remember to this day. It was just this relief of no more stress, of commitments and payments and places you have to be and responsibilities. And I realized that all of that was artificial, because as I'm dying, I'm realizing there is no tomorrow. Whatever I had to do, I don't have to do anymore. All these people that are left behind, they're going to have to figure out what to do about it. But all those things that drove me nuts, that provided so much stress and displeasure, was no longer. And I realized how stupid it was for me to let myself be worried with those things. When I heard that song by Linkin Park, in the end, I tried so hard and I got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I'm not sure what he's talking about, if he's referring to like a relationship or something, but I internalized that as, yeah man, we waste so much time with so much nonsense that we don't want to deal with, that we're not appreciating our life. We're just cooperating with all these stressful scenarios that we're put into unnecessarily, artificially. So as I was dying, I was like, man, this is peaceful, this is relaxing. I remember getting to this next realm. Now everything I tell you from here, while I'm in this realm, there is no physicality to it. So if I say up or down, left or right, north or south, or if something looked like something, there was nothing physical. It's all, I don't even know how to explain it. Language can't explain what I experienced, but I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability. So as I pass on, I recall this life review, and some spiritual texts talk about a life review where I experienced everything, like my whole previous life all at once. And then I was presented with this choice, and the choice was, do you want to live again? And I'm not really sure who was asking this to me. I just kind of remember like this high desk, and I guess there was a person behind it. The question was presented, do you want to live again? And I was like, I just died. You know, can I take a 2-week vacation here? Do I get any vacation time? I mean, you know, like, no, you have to choose right now. Do you want to live again or not? And I guess they were kind of implying that I later figured out was, don't worry, you're going to get a 9-month vacation, buddy. So just let us know right now, because we got to process you. Do you want to live again? And I was like, man, you know, it's kind of a big question, you know. I mean, I'm still not reflecting on what just took place on this death here. Now you're asking me if I want to do all that again. I'm like, I really don't know. And they're like, well, you got to choose, yes or no. Do you want to live again? And I'm like, hey, I was really indecisive. I remember being indecisive, like, man, come on. And there was, and I say a being to my right, again, there is no left, right, up, or down, but I just remember it being over to here, and it looked like a star, or like a kind of like a star, but not like a star in the sky, but like a burning star. And it said, hey, we know what happens now when we die. Why don't we go back to Earth one more time, and let's do it right this time? And I said, yeah, I guess you're right, man. What's another 50 years? Let's go do it. Besides, if we don't like it, we could always commit suicide out of it to unplug. And so as I agreed with living again, I was then whisked to this, I don't even think I walked. I don't know how this even happened, but you just go from here to the next place. And I'm in this room. I just remember, it's not even a room. Like I said, it's not a room, but you're presented with these lives. And I don't recall anybody being in the room with me, but there was like a voice that was kind of administering the selection process of my next life. So they presented this, you know, a life, and it had pros and cons, and there was some really good pros, but there were some real bad cons to a lot of these lives, like, you know, tragedy, sadness, just bad things. It was like you could have all this stuff, but all these bad things happen. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. You get to another life, all these nice things, but all these bad things. And I'm like, nah, I'm doing this voluntarily. Give me something good. And they got to this life where it was you're handicapped, and I'm like, what is this, like a test? I was thinking, I was like, man, you know, no, nobody gets out of this thing alive. Nobody's had the perfect life. Think about it, really. There's nobody that's had a perfect life. Everybody dies. So I was like, no, maybe some people want to experience life as handicapped. So yeah, I guess you could choose that. I specifically remember you could be handicapped. So the handicapped people you see, if they're anything like me, they chose to be handicapped. Why? That's their choice. That's what they want to experience. So life after life, the same routine is happening over and over again. You have these great things happen, but these bad things happen. And I'm like, man, I'm doing this voluntarily. Give me something good. At this point, I'm like, just give me something average. Just give me something that's just not tragic, something normal, something acceptable, please. And I'm starting to worry. I'm like wondering how the rules worked for this game. Like, if you kept passing, is there an end? Like, is there a finite amount of lives I could select? I was just wondering, I'm like, what if I get to the end and I'm stuck with that last one? I'm starting to worry. I was wondering, like, what if I get to the end? Will I be stuck with the absolute last life? So I wanted to make sure I chose something in between that was passable. So after passing and passing, I was like, man, I'm going to take the next thing that's just, you know, not tragic. They get to the life I have now, and the description was, you will bring a concept to the planet that will change the way people see reality. And I remember thinking, okay, what's the bad part? Because dang, that sounds pretty cool. I can't wait to hear the bad stuff that happens to this guy. And they said, well, this, and this happens. And I'm like, I mean, that kind of sucks, but I mean, it's not tragic like these other lives. And they were like, well, this, and this also happened. And I'm like, I mean, those are inconveniences. Those are kind of sucky, but again, it's not like, whoa, tragedy. What's the deal? Can this person just not handle these little things? And they said, and this is such profound information. They said, no, these things must happen to this person in order to shape him to become the person he needs to be in order to fulfill his mission. And I don't know if they use the word his or her or it, just in case you're into the whole gender identity. But they basically said these things have to happen in order to shape your behavior so that you can fulfill this quest. And I remember thinking, wow, that's pretty freak. That makes sense. That makes sense. They showed me my backyard, the backyard I would have, and there was a dock in it. And I remember the first years of my life, I'm like, something's missing from this backyard. But I saw like aerial shots. They weren't like aerial shots. They were, I don't know, like maybe 14 feet up looking down at it. It was strange. Like, I'm like, how do they get this photography? Like, thinking back on it. Some of the shots, they weren't, this is another thing I should point out. They weren't like perfectly framed shots. They were like when I see it right now, I see the backyard in this vision I'm having, and it was like off to the side. It wasn't something that a real estate agent would use. And they said things like, you know, you'll have no problem making friends with people. You'll be interesting. People will want to listen to the things you have to talk about. And I'm like, man, this is like almost too good to be true. They said, you're going to have wonderful parents that are going to allow you to, your mind to flourish and encourage you to think and encourage and support everything about you and just raise your spirits and positively reinforce you to be who you want to be. And I'm thinking, that's really good. So I said, okay, I mean, if there's anything else better than this, I don't even want to know. I want this life. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll take it. Come on. Yes, where can I sign up? Where can I sign up? Let me sign up, let me sign up, let me get it. And so they're like, okay, you could have this life. And I don't even remember if it happened like that, but it was like, and so I said, okay, I'll take this. Now remember, this is voluntary existence here. I'm voluntarily coming back. I want this description to meet the reality here. I want to have a nice good time. I want to bring a concept to the planet that's going to change the way people see reality, and not too much conflict, not too much tragedy. They're like, great, that's how the description is. All right, cool, I'll take it. At that point, I'm assuming I'm in my mother's womb, because I'm bored. I'm just kind of there. Everything looks a little bit orangey to me. The only time I enjoyed myself was when I assumed that my mother was eating food, because the food felt like friends. I don't know I don't expect that to make sense, but when she would eat food, the food actually felt like I had play friends with me in the womb. So yeah, when she ate food, it felt like I had friends. It almost felt like, I mean, the way my mind worked, it was the food was almost like imagine sitting down and there being a pear, like a pear with a face, like kind of like cartoons. And it's almost like, that's funny, because I wonder if somebody who wrote the original cartoons knew what infants must remember, because it was kind of like that. So all the food she ate was kind of like people to me, like little friends, and we'd have a good time, and then they'd leave once the food either got processed or whatever. And I'm just making mention of this just in case in the future someone finds a way to bridge these dimensions or fully capture all this. The food felt like friends. So if you're ever going to get pregnant and have children, make sure that you eat good food, because let me tell you, the food really does make a difference. It's the only friends that your unborn child's going to have. Take it kind of funny. You can feel free to laugh at this. This is the only way I could remember. This is the only way I could express and recall it. I don't remember being born. From what I'm told, I was C-sectioned. If I told you I remembered anything from the hospital experience, I don't know. I really don't have much memory of that. I don't have much memory of any incubators. Or maybe I do. I don't know. I just never... I'm really thinking about it for the first time right now. But what I do remember, I remember my parents bringing me home for the very first time from the hospital for my new life. And I remember thinking to myself, what did I just get myself into? Who are these people? Do they know who I am? Like, do they know what just took place? Are they in on this whole thing? And I'm like, man, I'm going to be under their authority for the next 18 years of my life. I hope these people aren't crazy. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They told me that when I chose this life, that, because this is like 9 months later, right? So, you know, I had to recall, I'm like, wait a minute. 9 months ago when I chose this whole thing, they said that I was going to have really good parents that were going to provide this wonderful learning environment for me and encourage me to be who I want to be. They sound like some really good people. And sure enough, I'm 37 now. My parents are the most wonderful people ever on the whole planet. They provided such a nice life for me. Everything the afterlife dimension said that they would be, they absolutely were. The way they are, it's almost unfair to the rest of the kids of the planet that didn't have two parents or didn't have the parents that I had. They absolutely were so perfect. And I'm not saying that if you're not happy with your parents, I'm just saying that in honor of mine, to just thank them for being so great. And sure enough, they got me into the gifted program, into the enrichment program, and provided me all kinds of opportunities to do anything I wanted. But really all I wanted to be is a YouTube. I wanted to have my own TV station, and I have that now on YouTube. And I remember, like, I don't know if I was 3 or 4 years old, but my mom gave me her tape recorder and taught me how to record on a tape. And I don't know how old you all are, but back then you'd put a cassette tape in this machine and you'd push down play and record, and that would begin the recording. And I remember speaking into it and then playing it back to myself, and I thought, this is what I need. I can't believe they're going to allow me to have this. This is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to achieve my mission, to be able to record myself. And I'm like, now how do I reproduce it? How can I get the information out to everybody? The internet didn't exist yet. I don't even think we had a computer yet. I remember the first thing we ever recorded was the Dukes of Hazzard. And we just recorded the audio. So I used to like re-listen to the Dukes of Hazzard on cassette tape. We didn't have a VCRs weren't even available really yet. So then I remember being in my crib and being like, feeling like I was in a prison. And I was like, how do I get out? And I had this ability, and I didn't know how to do it on command. But periodically I would be able to like leave my body out of the crib and go essentially across the hall to where my room would be when I got older. And then I would get back to the crib and thinking, all right, well, great, how do I get back in the crib now? And here's another important part. When I was in the crib, from the whole time, from being born to about 2 years old, I had, about 1.5 years old, I had this open communication with the other dimension. In my mind or in my hearing or whatever, I would always hear this conversation going on where it was like I could hear the other realm, and it just sounded like a room of people speaking. And whenever I wanted to know the answer to something, I would just ask it, and the other realm would answer the question right like in my ears for me. And I guess it was in English, I don't know. But I would have questions and they would be able to answer it. And it would be like they were doing other things, and then if I would ask a direct question, they'd like pause and stop what they're doing to answer my question. And I remember one time kind of like sizing up my reality, saying, all right, I'm here, I'm a baby. What year is it? I remember asking them, what year is it? And they go, it's 1980. And I go, friggin' 1980? 1980. And I think I had like I remember it was like a year later, or not even a year later. I was born in 1979, but I remember them saying like 1980. And keep in mind, by this point, I'm in the crib, 1979, I'm in like a carriage, like a little basket. I remember them telling me 1980, and I was just like, well, maybe it was 1981. It was like 1980 or 1981. I can't remember the year. But it was like, what I remember was it wasn't that long from when I had died. And I think I had died like 1975. So I felt like, all right, so only, and that also implies that we come back to the same timeline. So them telling me it's 1980, 1981. And I'm like, man, I want to be in the future. They said, no. Listen. Before you get all upset, you got to trust us here. We put you in the period of time where the most rapid change is going to take place, because we want you to have the maximum effect on what you're going to bring to the world. So we put you in the absolute perfect time. Sure, you'd love to be in the year 2300, but we put you in 1980 because what you need to do is going to have the maximum effect as you get older, with all the new changes of technology and society and everything. And so I was like, all right, that sounds good, but kind of would like to be in the future, but whatever, I'll take it. And I remember there was an Abraham Lincoln statue bust. Actually, I still have it in the house somewhere. But I used to look at that Abraham Lincoln statue or bust when I was in my crib, and there was like these other like plaques that my dad had won for like Salesman of the Year or something. And I used to look at the figures on the wall, and I used to just stare at Abe for hours. And but anyway, somehow one time I ended up on my carpet, and remember, I'm hearing this audio all the time from the other dimension, but I'm on the carpet, and they say to me, hey, listen, we're going to turn off the communication with you. You need to assimilate yourself to becoming a little boy. We've put people all along the way on your path that will guide you to become the person you need to be. Now, most of them are going to be good, positive influences. Some of them are going to be bad, but even the bad ones, you got to trust in us that we put them there for a reason, to train you, to teach you important things. And I was like, okay, cool. They're like, but look, you're not going to hear us anymore. We're turning off the communication, so you can't really rely on us, but we're still going to be here. We're just basically muting your ability to hear us. But if you ever really need us, you would call on us, we'll take care of stuff. So I was like, all right, I had no idea what I was in for. They're like, no, for real. Just remember, we're always going to be here. You can't hear us, but, just become a little boy, assimilate, learn the ways of the world, and just trust us. I was like, all right, cool. So they turned it off. And dude, everything went silent. And then I heard the air conditioner for the first time. I was able to smell the carpet for the first time. Notice that it was lime green. And my head, everything going on inside of my head felt dumb, 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 dumb. I felt so dumb, dumb, like I knew nothing at that point. Prior to that, anything I wanted to know, I could ask. Once they turned it off, like numbing dumbness overcame me. Dumb. And I had to learn, that's when I had to begin to learn everything. And that, so began my actual, I guess, life at that point. I give you all these stories, again, if you think I'm crazy at this point, that's fine. There's so many details to the story. How can I make this up? But that's for you to decide. I'm not even going to try to convince you anymore. I'm offering you the story in hopes for you to start to recall your own life and to offer you hints and clues so that we could all solve this riddle of reality. So try not to spend most of your time refuting what I'm talking about. Feel free to, but take in the information. See if it resonates with you. See if you can recall, if you recall any of this kind of stuff. Nobody talks about this in society. Why? 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 What I'm talking about right now, this whole conversation I had is so forbidden. Why is this kind of discussion forbidden? Really, why is this forbidden? There's so much more to the story. But we're gonna stop right there because my throat gets part of my whole this, and this. You might be wondering, what were the this, and this, and this, all the bad things that happened to me in life? One of them is my throat. If I speak for more than 10 minutes, which I did in this video, I get dehydrated. My tongue gets dry and I end up getting like a sore throat. I'm hoping I can pull through and not get sick here. But like my neck's all warm right now. I'm really thirsty. Water's not doing anything. So that's one. Two, I have orthotics in my shoes and I've worn them since I was in 3rd grade or since 1988, 1989. So I always have to have shoes on. If I don't have my orthotics, a lot of pain happens. It starts with my feet, goes up to my knees. It's real bad. Allergies. I have extreme allergies to dust, extreme allergies to cats and dogs, mold, wheat, and a bunch of food. Chicken, pork, peanuts, wheat, fish. So I can barely eat anything. Everything makes me feel weird. And then dust is everywhere. It is so everywhere. If you're immune to dust, you have a great time in life. For me, dust ruins my day and it's everywhere. I mean, even thinking about dust makes me sneeze. My nose is always running. I always have snot coming out of my nose. I have severe motion sickness, so going in a car is miserable for me. Theme parks are no fun. Space travel is not possible. Doing daredevil stunts is not possible. Even playing basketball, rebounding makes me dizzy. But I played tons of basketball in my day, but it just made me dizzy. By the 4th quarter, jumping, I'm like, oh God, I'm so dizzy. And there's a couple other things, but those are 3 major ailments to my life, but they're really not that bad. I mean, wouldn't you take allergies and orthotics over tragedy? And as far as tragedy, there hasn't really been much tragedy in my life. My parents are still alive. Most of my family is still alive. Most of my friends are still alive. All my body parts are still here. I still have my appendix even. I still have my spleen. I lost some wisdom teeth. But all in all, my life has been exactly how they said it. It's fairly void of tragedy. And it's been a good time. And yeah, I've been able to make friends very easily with people. In fact, I'm almost like, if somebody doesn't want to be friends with me, I'm like mad with them. I'm like, how are you not going to be friends with me? How is that possible? You got to like me. So, but you know, whatever. The things I've accomplished, in life, I've published books, I've recorded, published CDs, DVDs, websites, videos. I've done a lot of things that most people dream of doing. So I'm pretty happy. I'm so thrilled with being me that I don't ever want to die. I'm so happy being me. Like every day I wake up, I'm like I always want to be me. The only thing I don't even want to dress up for Halloween. I want to dress up as me for Halloween. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm dressing up as. So I'm really, really happy with my life. I love my wife. She's supportive of everything I'm doing. The most common question people give me is, so what does your wife think about you? Or what does your wife think about this? Almost like, I thought we prevented all women in society from interacting with people like you. So with part of humanity, I'm mad at them for trying to shun me, to push the panic button of, uh-oh, we have independent thought going on here. We have to put a stop to that independent thought. And that's been throughout. People are always like, shh, John, don't wake the people up. Shh, keep it normal. And I'm like, no, I'm here to wake the people up. I'm here to bring a concept that's going to change everything. Don't silence me. I'm here for this. This is my purpose. But know that society is actively trying to suppress this and try to keep you dumb and keep you passive and keep you obedient and prevent you from being all that you can be. I remember there's a line on the back of Walden by Henry David Thoreau. It says, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. It's not me, but most people are afraid to speak their mind because they're scared of what society is going to think of them. I'm trying to be that example. I've talked about the craziest stuff just now on camera, and I have a great life. I love everything about my life. So don't be afraid to speak your mind. Speak it. Be yourself. All right, well, I got to stop talking because my throat's killing me. This is Question Reality, and we'll see you in the next episode.